Hey guys, what's going on? This is Christian Martinez. Excuse me. And today I'm not gonna be doing a cover. Today I'm gonna be reading to you CreepyPasta. Yep, story time with Fever is back. Did I say Christian Martinez? I meant to say King Fever. It's King Fever here. So anyways, so with that being said, let's get started with the story. Today's story, we're gonna read the creepypasta of Winnie the Pooh. Here we go. Ever since Noah could walk, he loved exploring. I looked the other way for a second. I turned back to see Noah perched high on the counter, giggling uncontrollably as he reached for the decorative cookie jar. Noah, you know you can't have cookies before dinner. Get down from there. I casually make my way to our kitchen counter and set him back on the floor with his toy fire trucks and fighter planes. Wherever you can find trouble, you'd also happen to find Noah. On his third birthday, Noah became infatuated with Winnie the Pooh. I've always enjoyed old Pooh Bear myself as a child, and I was glad that my son gained interest in him as well. Play Pooh, Noah would shout. He had been watching the same VCR tape of the adventures of Winnie the Pooh for several months. I watched the same tape as a child, and I felt an overwhelming feeling of nostalgia. It brought back heartwarming memories of my youth. With his fourth birthday arriving, I decided I would try to get a Pooh toy for Noah. I searched Walmart. Nothing. Dollar General. Nothing. Even went to local garage sales. Nothing. Just as my hopes of finding Pooh were diminishing, I came across an old weather-beaten Pooh doll in my basement. I remember this doll. My mom had hidden it away for some reason, but I couldn't quite remember why. I know, I know what you may be thinking. I could have looked on eBay for the Pooh doll. Well, I haven't had tons of money lately. You see, my wife Joyce lost a raging battle against over cancer. I was more of a stay-at-home dad. She was a bank clerk at our local bank. Money didn't come easily in the first place, but now without her, I've been working odd jobs around town trying to pay the bills to put food on the table for me and Noah. I crept to Noah's room quietly, cracking the door open, and found him watching the Winnie the Pooh tape once again. He was whiz with the VCR. I had no problems working it. I stepped in through the door with the doll behind my back, out of sight. Daddy! He yelled as he ran to me and hugged my legs. I have a surprise for you, Noah. I revealed the bear, and Noah jumped with glee. He immediately grabbed the doll from my hands and embraced it, holding it close to his face. Pooh! He affectionately murmured. He smiled brief. I smiled briefly and said, "Happy birthday, son." I left. I left Noah to his new toy and slumped onto the couch. Today was a really long day. My eyes started to flutter, and the next thing I knew, I fell asleep. I woke up feeling groggy and disoriented. My alarm clock read 3 a.m. Jeez, I was out for a while. I lazily stumbled into the kitchen and poured myself a glass of water. My lips and throat were dry from the nap. I was taking a sip, and when I heard something, it was kind of loud, but enough to hear very clearly. I could hear Noah's voice. He seemed distressed. Noah's not the kid to stay up late, always being knocked out cold by at most 10 o'clock. I rushed I rushed into Noah's room and swung the door open. Let me straighten up the camera. I I rushed into Noah's room and swung the door open. His room was very dark, only illuminated by the TV with displayed static. I could make out two shapes in the darkness. One was no doubt Noah, but there was another shape huddled near him. I crept a little closer. It was the Pooh doll. I got him. I was relieved, but still unsettled by the second voice from earlier. Noah, who are you talking to? He looked up at me and smiled. I was talking to Pooh Bear, Daddy. Must have been hearing things, I suppose. Get to bed, kiddo. It's way past your bedtime. Noah groaned with displeasure and climbed into bed, with the Pooh doll tucked under his arm. The next few days, all Noah could do was play with the doll. He took it everywhere with him, and he continued to stay up late and talk to Pooh Bear. He didn't want to go outside and play anymore. He stayed inside, playing with Pooh non-stop. My curiosity was overwhelming, so after I tucked Noah in, I pulled up a chair near his door and sat. I was going to eavesdrop on their conversation tonight. Seconds turned to minutes, minutes turned to hours, and not a single noise emanated from the room. 2 a.m. rolled around, and I was considered calling my weight off. But then I heard something come from the room. The familiar pitter-patter of little feet. I paused my breath to listen. I heard whispering. I could make out the phrase. Pooh, I'm tired. I want to sleep, Pooh. There was a pause. Back here the TV playing in the background. Static noises again. Nothing else could be heard. I don't want to do that to him, Pooh. I don't want to do that. No, I had distress in his voice. This was against his will. I cracked the door open, and an unsettling draft hit me like a ton of bricks. The window was open. TV illuminated Noah's form. It was sitting crisscross in the center of the room, turning away from the window towards me. Hi, Daddy. Hi, Daddy. Knowing I was caught, I casually walked into the dark room. The pool doll was in Noah's arms, held tightly against him. I was so disturbed by the situation that I grabbed Noah and said, You're going to sleep with me tonight. He reached for the pool doll, but it was out of range on his arms, and on his arms were bruises, not in the shape of a hand, but circular form. No more Pooh for you tonight. I carried him to my room and tucked him into my covers. I sat in bed and looked at the ceiling. Who was my son talking to? Every kid had an imaginary friend, but no one has ever had an imaginary bully. The next morning, I woke not to Noah, but an empty bed. I got up and patrolled the house for Noah. He was sitting neatly on the floor in his room, talking to Pooh again. Will that hurt, Pooh? I strolled in the room. Time to get to the bottom of this. Noah, what has Pooh been asking you? Noah paused and furrowed his brow. I can't tell you, it's a secret. Noah and I are very close, even close for father and son. Why wouldn't he tell me? The rest of the day continued very boringly. Nothing of interest occurred. That night, I decided not to eavesdrop like I usually did and went to bed. I faded into darkness and lost consciousness. Over the next few weeks, Noah's condition worsened. He stopped leaving his room, stopped playing with his other toys, stopped telling me that he loved me. No one would even eat most days. He lost 10 pounds in weeks. I tried force feeding him, but all he did was scream and fuss and said, I don't want to eat. I want to play with Pooh. Getting rid of the doll didn't help either. I threw it in the trash, only to find removed and back in its place by Noah. The doll was starting to age dramatically as well. It seemed like there were ripping dark stains appeared on the doll, and even an eyeball was hanging loosely like a ball and chain. Dark rings appeared under Noah's eyes, caused by sleep exhaustion. I didn't know what to do. The doll was driving me to drink. I dozed off, giving to the sleep's tempting offer. I woke to a loud thumping noise. It was so dark. I could see that my hand was in front of my face. Thump. What was that? My doorknob rattled and opened very slowly, almost at a turtle's pace. I opened the blind next to my bed, unleashing the moonlight illuminating presence. The door to my room was open, and something silvery glinted in the darkness. I squinted at my eyes, hoping to spot something. At that moment, I glinted and I glinted. The glint moved. The glint moved and was moving towards me. I reached over to the lamp and pulled the string down, brightly illuminating the room. I held the mask was revealed. It was Noah. In his hand, he clutched the Phillips head screwdriver. His eyes opened like two giant almonds. He darted out of the room into a dark hallway. He dropped something. It was Pooh. Enough's enough. I'm keeping the doll in here from now on. I sat the yellow bear on my nightstand under the lamp. God, Noah had destroyed the little bear. Noah bugged me asking where Pooh was, and I always replied, Pooh went back to the 100-acre woods to visit his friends. Weeks went by and Noah's health was improving dramatically. He gained his weight back, the bags under his eyes went away, he started eating again, started telling me that he loved me at night before bed. I lay on my bed, looking at the worn out doll. I even picked it up and tossed it back and forth in my hands. I like how this doll feels. Despite its aging, the doll was still fuzzy as ever. I started putting the doll into my bag before work. On lunch breaks, I pulled out the doll and stroked its head. I quickly shoved it back in my bag before I could when a coworker would walk by. Eventually, I stopped going to work. I need more time with Pooh. I spend my days clutching the weathered doll in my hands, caressing it, and taking care of it. I love you, Pooh. Dad, there's nothing to eat. No one moaned. Stupid kid. He seems to ruin my time with Pooh. Can't you say I'm busy, you little cretin? Noah would hang his head and scurry back into his room. He doesn't know Pooh. He doesn't know he doesn't know the time. He doesn't know the time I needed for you. I started confiscating his VHS collections of Winnie the Pooh, bringing them to my room so I could watch all day and all night. I stopped sleeping. If I slept, Pooh would be angry. I don't want him to be angry. I even got up to relieve myself. My room was blanketed with putrid smell of feces and urine. I don't care, as long as Pooh is happy. Noah eventually left, but I can't exactly remember when. Was it yesterday? Was it a week ago? Well, good riddance. I'm free of him for good. Eventually, my electricity went out. I hadn't paid the bill in months. I have gone from a 180-pound man to a tiny 100-pound man. As long as Pooh loves me, I don't care. I was forced to eat bugs and rats that unfortunately scurried across my path. The paint on the wall started to peel, and the mold covered the ceiling. I don't care. I do it for Pooh. He needs my time more than I do. Much time has passed. I haven't been in great shape. I think I'm dying. I can't die. Pooh doesn't want me to die. My beard and unkempt hair reaches below my chest. My coat's in tatters, and my fingernails have grown unreasonably long. I sing myself occasionally to please Pooh. Wait it up, Pooh. Wait it up, Pooh. Tubby little chubby old stuff with fluffies. Wait it up, Pooh. Wait it up, Pooh. When I never sell your bed. There's a knock at the door. People have knocked. This knock was persistent. It was hard. I got up and stood. I looked out at the people, and a man in his late 20s was outside. He knocked again, shouted something. Dad! Dad, are you in there? The end. And that was the Winnie the Pooh CreepyPasta. So, tell me what you think of the story. Tell me if you heard of it before. Tell me if you read it before to some of your friends. And with that, I'll see you next time. So, don't forget to like, leave comments, subscribe, and let it up blue.